Hey guys, this is the video because Miss Schreiber was a doofus and she forgot to tape what she just did. So I'm going to do a quick recap of what I did about communism, and then we'll talk about what you have to do for me today. All right, first off, with communism, communism is usually considered to be the opposite of democracy. One of the things that communism says sounds really good, and people who are communists say, hey, we're going to make everybody equal. Now that sounds like a really cool deal. The problem is we know that people have a sin nature, so that's not how it works out. What happens is the few people in the Communist Party that are running the government, those people are the ones that control everything. So they do okay, but everybody else is pretty bad off. Now, if you remember, we talked about the Constitution and we talked about the Bill of Rights. All right, some of those amendments, those aren't going to happen in a communist country. All right, so for instance, one of the big things is there's no freedom of religion. Most communists are atheists, which means they don't believe in God at all. And so that's what they encourage in everybody else, is not to believe in God. The people that do, usually what they do is when they gain power in a country, is they close down all the places of worship. Sometimes they'll let a few of them stay open, but they control what the pastor can say. Sometimes they actually arrest the pastors and any other leaders in the real church, and they put in people of their own who will do what they want. Right? There's no freedom of speech. In fact, you have to be very careful in some cases, because in some cases, if you say something and the wrong person hears, they will go to the Communist Party and they'll say, hey, did you know so-and-so was talking against the government? And guess what? And then you get arrested. I mean, if it's bad enough, you can actually get executed just for something you say. Most of the time, though, you get sent to a prison camp in Siberia. Very, very bad. You can Google this for yourself if you want to know. You also aren't going to have freedom of the press. And this doesn't just mean newspapers. This means any way you get any kind of media that you get information from. So this means they control the internet, radios, television. Now, why would they want to control everything? All right, because they want to control what people think. And the way to control what people think is to control what they know. And so communists are big on propaganda, and they tell their people, oh, you should be so glad you're in our country. It's so much better over here than it is in the US or wherever. And if people can find out the truth, guess what? They're not going to believe that anymore. And how can they find out the truth? Through media. And so that's why the media is controlled. One of the big things was when Google wanted to move into China, they had to have a big meeting, and several meetings, I'm sure, because China wanted to control what their people could see on the internet. And so to do that, they had to control, and they had to get Google to agree to certain restrictions so that somebody in China isn't going to see the same stuff that you see, even if they put in the same stuff in the search box, because it's controlled. Now, one of the other big things is there's no private property. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't own your own clothes or something, but what that means is things like you're not going to own your own house or your own apartment. They're going to tell you where to live. All right, you might have a car, but they can take that away anytime. And by the way, it's very hard to get a car because, first off, people are very poor. They don't have much money. And then even if you have the money for the car, a lot of times the car is not available. Okay, one of the other things we don't have in communism is privacy. You know, in this country, the policemen have to go, if they think that somebody has done something wrong, they have to go to a judge, they have to explain, they have to bring proof and say, this is why we think this person has done something wrong. And then the judge signs what's called a warrant, and that gives the police permission to search somebody's house or business or car. But they have to have permission. Not in a communist country. They're afraid that you're doing something wrong, or they just happen to not like you. They can do a search anytime they want to, barge in at any old time. People are usually considered guilty until proven innocent. Okay, in our country, we know it's the other way around, right? People are innocent until proven guilty. And I'm going to tell you something. It is a lot harder to prove that you are innocent than it is to prove that somebody else is guilty. It's just a harder thing to do. And to make it even worse, many times in a communist country, there's only going to be one person that's going to make that decision. And they're usually a member of the Communist Party. And the Communist Party has usually already told them, look, we want this person in prison. We think they're dangerous. They're going around spreading the gospel. And they'll say, okay, you're guilty of whatever. And they don't even have to have anything real. They can totally make it up. But you don't have a jury like you do here. One of the benefits of having a jury is that the jury is supposed to be full of people that are similar to you in background. And having a lot of people decide is much better than one person, because with a lot of people, you have a lot of different opinions. You have a lot of different people that you can appeal to, as opposed to if, for instance, the judge decides they don't like you, well, you're in trouble. And that's just how it goes in communism. Now, one of the big differences, and this is where your work comes in, one of the big differences has to do with the economy. And you don't have to read these are my notes. You don't have to read them though. Remember again, no private property, which means if your mom or your dad owns their own business, you better hope communists don't come to power, because they're going to take it away from them. And they're going to tell everybody, this is where you're going to work and this is how much money you're going to get. And you know what? Doesn't matter how hard you work or how little you work. Well, it does matter how little. You can get punished for not working enough. But if you do extra work, no promotions, no bonuses, no benefit for any of that. So how hard do you think people work? Well, not real, right? I mean, if you know that the guy beside you is just doing just enough to get by, and he's going to get the same amount of money as you're going to get, and there's no hope for you to get a promotion or to get any kind of a bonus, you're just not going to work very hard. That's human nature. All right. So that means that the things that are made in communist countries are oftentimes not real great. Now, what does that mean? That means that when they sell them, say to other countries, they're not going to make much money. Now, remember, the workers, they're being told how much money they get. But the amount of money that comes from the things that they make, okay, the Communist Party takes in, they don't have a whole lot. So many times, even if you're in the Communist Party, and the people in the Communist Party get the best of everything, but even if you are in the Communist Party, many times what you can get is not very good, not by comparison to what we would call a free country or a democracy. All right, so what you're going to do today, guys, is in the resources section, there is a comparison between communism and democracy, and it looks something like this: capitalism and communism. And it actually gives you the information you need to answer it, but you can also go back and rewatch this video if you want to. You're going to answer these questions. Now, if you have the ability to, guys, you can download this. You can type in, if you know how to type, just type in the answers, and then you can resend it to me. If not, you can go ahead and handwrite it, and then remember, you'll need to take a picture of it and send it to me or scan it, send it to me either by email or on the homework drop. And I'm thinking about possibly grading this. All right, so you might want to be a little bit more careful than you might be on some of the other stuff. Remember, we do have a test coming up on Friday, and if you haven't taken the last test, I really think you need to get a move on that. I think I'm going to put deadlines like on this and on any of the other work we've done so far is going to be Friday, because that's when our spring break starts. And I really would like everybody to get everything done so that after spring break we can start fresh. All right, remember, guys, I will get this up as soon as I can, but remember, you can also email me, text me, whatever, if you have any questions. You guys have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.